Let's see. Hanan, are you on with us? I know Hanan's on because I
Yeah.
added him. There he is. All
There
right.
it is. Nice. Let's go. What's going on? How are you?
Man, I'm excited. Thanks for jumping on. So,
For having
you
me.
guys, I'm so excited for you guys to hear Hanan's story. I'm pretty convinced probably October of last year, Hanan was ready to go get a job. I don't think it was going great back then. And he has totally turned this thing around. He has the complete roadmap from going from zero to hero, how to get to $40,000 a month, exactly what you have to do, lead spin, what to say, how to say it. How to say it is big. Hanan has changed his whole personality when it comes to dealing with clients on the phone. It's actually been pretty amazing to watch. I want to make sure this is being recorded. Um, this is being recorded, right, Frank? I didn't see it recorded anywhere, but it told me. Yep, it
Yeah, you're
says.
good. You did it.
That's
Okay,
on.
cool. Thank you for that. But Hanan has done an incredible job. He qualified for Cancun, which is huge. Hanan, are you excited to go to Cancun?
I am. I texted you this morning and I was telling you I might not go. You're like, no, you have to go.
You have to go. It is not optional. This is not for fun. The beautiful thing about FFL is the top producers all share everything with each other. There's no secrets. Producers don't keep secrets from each other. You go to these producer trips and you come back with like a wealth of knowledge to take your 40 to turn it into 80. I remember Heather Robeson qualified for a trip and came back, and now a bad month for Heather is like 60. You know, like like she feels like she's failing if she does less than that. And I think that's the same thing that's going to happen with you. But Hanan, for those that don't know you, could you just tell us a little bit about your background and then how you got started with Family First?
Absolutely. So my name's Hanan Roberts. Nice to meet you, everyone. It's a ton of y'all on here. How did I get into the company? I came fresh out of high school. Someone's playing the video in the background. I could hear myself. It's freaking this guy back here. So I came right out of high school. Um, Fresh out. I went to college for like from October to April, so I guess 6 months. Was doing this part time, and then I remember I had a $15,000 month. And I made like 12 grand, and I said, "Oh no, I gotta quit. I gotta drop out." So then I dropped out, and then for like the rest of the year, it was horrible. Didn't really make any money. Had no money for leads. It was a rough time. And then after that year, I was like, "All right, no more." So then I started investing and really taking it serious. And then
Got it.
my whole family's in the industry. So my dad, my brother, my mom sold before. My older sister even sold before I had a previous company. But yeah, we've all done insurance.
I love that. And you're building a team as well.
Yes, sir.
So how many writers do you have so far?
Think 8 to 10, 8 to 10,
Nice.
8 to 10.
And
So
one of those writers, Joseph's your best one, right?
yes,
You
Joseph Salcido. Yes, sir.
perfect. All right. So Hanan, this call is geared toward people that are just getting started or who have been around a while and are not getting the results that they think they should get, or that they should be getting. If I said, what are three things that have to change for every single person on here in order to hit the level of Hall of Fame or $40,000 plus a month in life premium, what are the three things for you right off the top of your head?
Right off the top of my head, I was on a call with Steven earlier. Excuse me. And it really just comes down to mentality, right? Um, so first mentality, two is belief in yourself, belief in the system, and then belief in the people you're working with. And then three is lead spend. Um, so belief, also believing in the product and believing that people need the coverage. Because I feel like a lot of times new agents, and it's kind of weird, like new agents will come in and they like some of them don't think the people need the coverage. I remember I brought in an agent, Trey, a year and a half ago, a good friend of mine, from high school. And he ended up quitting. And then he spoke to another friend of ours and he was like, yeah, I felt like I was like doing bad things for people that were on low income. I was like, well, no wonder he didn't sell anything because he didn't believe in it. And
Mhm.
like, you need to remember you are helping people. You have to believe in the coverage. You have to believe they need the coverage. And without that, no one's going to buy from you. So I feel like that's really the main thing.
Ain't that the truth? Yeah, I wonder how many people quit because of that. They think they're doing something wrong to people with low income. How would you respond to that?
I I never spoke to him again.
Yeah. Well, you
Even
don't
one
want that to
that
rub
I
off
never
for
spoke to him.
sure, but
Yeah. I was like, dude, what? Like these people are requesting the coverage. Like I was confused because I never believed that and I never thought that. Because I saw
yeah.
my dad sell and I never believed it. My dad never spoke bad about it. My mom never spoke bad about it. No one spoke bad about it from anyone in my family, from people I was around. So I didn't understand it, honestly.
Mm. Yeah, one of the things I always we talk about this a lot is the people that succeed here are usually people that have gone through some stuff. I wouldn't have had the same mentality had not people in my life died. Um, and I understood what that actually looks like financially. People on low income need it more than anybody else.
Yep.
Like if they can't afford $47 a month, they can't afford not to get it. You know what I mean? Like that's
Yeah.
always the way I kind of makes me mad. Like I thought that way.
Yeah.
Um, what's the number one thing you had to change about your mentality when it came to the business?
Is not being afraid. Um, that's I feel like been the biggest thing. Not being afraid to lose clients, not being afraid to get hung up on, not being afraid to buy leads. And a lot of people will buy the leads, but then still be afraid to get hung up on. I buy the leads, and sometimes if my mentality ain't right, I like when they hang up on me. So I'm like, dude, just get off my phone. So I'm comfortable getting hung up on, people not answering, and spending the money. I feel like that's super huge because without that, you'll come off timid and you're afraid to tell them the truth.
Yeah. And the one thing I've noticed as I've watched you in the office do this is like your timidity has disappeared on the phone. Like you say some things on the phone that I always had the mentality like, do people really say that? Do people really challenge people that way? A couple of weeks ago, Hanan's on the phone with the guy, and the wife kept interrupting in the background. And Han goes, hey, who is that? He said, that's Cheryl. He goes, hey, you need to tell Cheryl to be quiet. He goes, this is a discussion between you and me. Mano y mano. And, and he told Cheryl to be quiet. I couldn't believe it. I don't know if you sold that one, but you know, there's something about the posture. Um, talk to us about what changed when your posture changed. How did people perceive you, and how did that enable you to carry on throughout the day?
That's a good question. Um, and I like the how did that allow you to continue through the day part because that's super important. If you're a brand new agent and you feel like you're begging on the phone, that drains you, right? You feel like you're no every time they answer, I'm begging them to buy insurance. I'm begging and they don't like me. I'm saying something wrong. Um, they can afford it. Something along the lines. If you start to feel like you're not doing something entirely right, it mostly means you're leaving something on the table that you could be addressing just by being more straightforward. So I can't remember the last time I've had a call where I got off the phone and was like, I should have said this. I should have said this. Or maybe if I would have challenged them a little bit more, they would have bought. Right. For me, most of the time it's the opposite. Maybe if I would have just been a little bit nicer, a little less straightforward, um, then you get less regret. And that's my biggest thing is I've been on the phone with people for months feeling like, dang, I could have said this. Why didn't I? I could have said this and I didn't. And I lost the deal, right? I feel like you're
Hmm.
losing money. And I just couldn't do that anymore. So then the posture is like they're reaching out to us. They need the coverage. I'm just here to educate them and figure out what they need, right? And guide them down the right path, and that's allowed me to continue on. So if I'm getting hung up on, I'm like, at least I know I did my job because that's all we can do. If you do the same thing every call, make sure you do everything right, ask the correct questions, show them the correct options, and challenge them hard enough. You know you did your job, right? Not everybody could get sold, which is fine, but if you try your hardest to make sure you do everything correctly, you'll have the best chances, and you'll at least get rid of that lingering mentality, like, dang, I should have did this.
Mm. Yeah, no doubt. I remember one time years ago, I was at a meeting where Sean talked, and um, he said something really profound. He goes, "You'll become a top producer in this business when you get tired of people wasting your time."
Yep.
And I thought, wow, that's good. And then at the lock-in we just did in in Scottsdale. Dom was coaching somebody there, and he told her what to say. And I think everybody was kind of shocked. Like, why would he push so hard? And he goes, "Oh, there's no way this lady's buying it. But I
Yep.
tell you what, the next person that calls, they're not going to treat them like they treated her.
Yep.
He'll be teed up." And I thought, yeah, that's a good way. He goes,
Yep.
because this has to end somewhere.
Yep.
We can't just play games for years talking about life. He's 69 years old. And sure enough, and I guarantee you the next person that did call her, she didn't act that way. she
Yeah,
she
she
was
probably
ready to
bought.
buy something, or she told him right up front she really wasn't gonna get it and got off the phone. So
Yep.
um what has helped what has helped build your belief in the business? What did you do to change your belief system, your belief in yourself, your belief in the people around you, the belief in your team, your belief in FFL?
Honestly, getting around people that are doing it. Um, so we were with another team and we weren't really like necessarily involved with the whole family first life thing, but we were still part of FFL. Um, but then we kind of got then we got reintroduced basically. So now we're working with Steven, Trey, and then being on the call. So Steven had told me, he was like, bro, you have to get to FFL convention because you don't really work at FFL until you go to convention to see what the company's about. I was like, that's actually a fair point. He's like, the company gets a little bit of overrides, like you should know what's going on. I was like, that's a fair point. So I went, me and my brother go, great event. We hear everybody talk, and you see the people on stage. You're like, okay, if they could do that, why can't I? And that's always been my belief. I was raised that I could do whatever I want, right? So, and I truly believe that. But then on the last day of the convention, it was when we were actually eating dinner. Remember, you were there sitting eating dinner with us. Me and James, we go get some extra dinner, and we go back up to the hotel. And as soon as we get in, before we could even eat or anything, our mom calls James, and they're like, basically saying our dad might have cancer, literally right after the
Mm.
convention. So then that just kind of honestly sparked it from me from then. And I've been taking it a lot more serious because like tomorrow really isn't guaranteed. So I feel like that really changed it for me. So I believe in everything now.
I totally understand that. All right. Well, and how's your dad doing? Your dad's doing fantastic.
He is. He's doing great. He's doing
Okay. I
great.
know everybody's going to ask in the chat. I mean, actually pretty miraculous. Um, all right. So lead spend, what changed there? And what do you spend on leads now? And talk to us about your daily structure, how much time you put in, what your expectations are each day. What are you trying to accomplish?
That's a great question. So lead spend, I'm doing around 1250 to 2 grand a week. So immediately when I came back from convention, I think this will be a good lesson for everybody that's brand new. So like if you're on these calls and you're like, all right, I need to spend money on leads. So I came back from convention, spent 2 grand on leads. Every week that February, I spent like 9 grand on leads total. I only issued like 25, 26. So it's it's not an immediate thing. For some people it might be, right? You might buy the leads immediately. That could have been all you're missing, right? But sometimes it's a closing issue or there's an issue somewhere else, and buying the leads instantly isn't going to fix it. And you need to kind of build up that skill level to get there to become profitable. So buy the leads first. What was your question? My expectations. Okay, so I'm spending around 1,000 to 2,000. Expectation, I try to do 5 times, 5 to 7 times of my lead spend. So I should be issuing 7 to 12 grand per week. Dials, about 300, 400 personal. I do have a dialer. I just got a second dialer this week. I'm mainly doing final expense for anybody that's going to ask. Mainly final expense, testing a little bit of mortgage protection to supplement a little bit of premium there. And then expectations $300. If you do 5 presentations, you'll close 2 to 3, and that's all you need, right? Start with one, build up from one, and then go to 2 to 3 a day. And then from there, then you're good. But like for example, today, I'll be honest with you, I've made like $6. I was helping new agents today, and I've closed two. One was live transfer, one was outbound. So the moral of the story is honestly sometimes it just works itself out if you work and have the systems in place. It takes a lot of the headache and all the problems out of it because things just start to fall in your lap. One of my favorite sayings is just keep your arms open for your blessings, right? Don't block your blessings. If you keep your arms open, it'll fall into you, but you have to set up those systems to allow the blessings to fall into your lap. Buy leads, have dollars, and have presentations.
I love it. Um, as far like what time do you start every day, and then when do you call it quits? Is it once you get your 5 or 6 presentations, once you get a certain amount of sales, then you hit the 300 dial mark? I mean, sometimes you're
Um,
there at 10 o'clock at night.
yeah,
I
sometimes
drive by just to see if you're still there.
we're here pretty late. So we're working at this Trey's office. We're here pretty late. James be here till 8. I was here till 8, and then I stopped by West Coast Leads. So now I stop between like 5:30 to 6. I stop down around there. But I start around 7, between 7 to 8 Pacific time. So around, what is that, 10 to 11 East Coast. And I try to dial all day, right? If I'm not helping agents, I try to dial. That's all I could control. That's all you could do.
I love it. Um, okay. So as far as like um so you're doing, you said if you bought 1,000, so 7 to 12,000 is what you're trying to submit every week. Um, what are the biggest challenges sales wise? Like when it's not going good,
Mhm.
it's like fundamentals. Like how do you get back on track if you're in a slump? What do you go back and like check the boxes and say, did I do this? Did I do that? How do I correct this? What's that list for you?
The biggest thing is first not showing it. So like you never know if I have a bad week or not, right?
Okay.
So that's first. It's just don't show it. If you don't show it, it doesn't get to you. At least it won't get to you as quick. Then you can kind of make adjustments and see what's going on. So that, and then tracking your numbers is super important. We went to that lock-in in Vegas, and Zach T got into my butt for not tracking my numbers. So ever since then, I've been tracking my numbers, and it changed my life because it takes the emotion out of things. So if I just look over, I keep it open all day. So it just like kind of laughs at me if I'm having a bad day. But I just try to fill this, right? You have your goals. If you're like, I want $300 a day, maybe 350, 400. If you just hit them and you look at your presentation, you can say, okay, maybe my intro was wrong, right? But I had a ton of answers and no one, I presented to no one. So that means your intro was probably off. You probably sounded like in a bad mood or something. And then you can go back to the calls if you need to send it to somebody, especially if you're brand new, send it to somebody, so we can figure out what's going on because that's huge. If you're brand new and you're having problems getting into presentations, you need to send your intros to someone or be on the daily dials. The daily dials are huge. Like I've been on the FFL all daily dials. I've been on those. I've been on Stevens. I've been on my own. I've been on a ton of different ones. I try to listen to everybody's calls because if I listen to everybody's calls, I could kind of piece things together and figure out what's going wrong in my calls and send them to people. I feel like
Got it.
that's huge and staying level headed. And then having a routine. People say don't have a morning routine, but at least have some sort of routine, right? I drink the same energy drink every morning. That's my routine. And listen to good music to try to get pumped up, right? So you don't need to have some extravagant routine, but you need to have a routine. Something little like come in, play one song for a minute, right? Or walk around. Do something that you do constant every day to build up that routine, the normality of the day.
I love it. Um, when you, so how many hours do you think you work a week, honestly?
Honestly, it's between 50 to 60.
Okay.
Kind of depends.
And what do you think, a $40,000 a month, what are you netting income wise typically?
30. I netted 30.
Do
Well,
you know any other
not lie.
20-year-olds that net 30,000 in a month, by the way,
Let me not lie.
outside
It
of
was like
insurance?
24, 25. It was closer to there after leads.
Okay.
So minus leads, I profited like 24, 25.
$1,000.
Yeah, 25,000. Yeah.
You know, full time in the military, back when I was in, you had to be like an E5 to make that in a year. I mean, it's uh it's pretty wild, really, when you think about it. You know anybody else that's 20 years old that's making that kind of money doing anything legal?
No. No.
Goodness. So 50, 60 hours a week is not a huge sacrifice. Um, I think people get caught up. Like it's monotonous, it's boring, I don't want to sit at a desk. Like people come up with all these excuses, but there's people doing way worse stuff to make way less money for way longer with no freedom. What has this business allowed you to do positively in your life that you wouldn't have been able to do without this?
Um, Really just helping the people around you. Um, So like, for example, we had an agent, um, tree like fell into the house from a storm. Crazy. And I was able to donate money to that. A friend freaking unfortunately asked me for money last week, and I was able to do that. I'm able to spend more time with my family, even though I'm working a lot. But you're able to just, it's weird. You work a lot, but you feel like you're never working, but you feel like you're always working. It's a weird dilemma. But I'm all
Yes.
it's weird, right? I feel
Right.
like I don't work, but I'm always working. And this is all I think about all day, every day. Get home, this is what I think
Hmm.
about. Wake up, this is what I think about. Um, just really just helping the people around you, being more intentional with the people around you, and just improving as a person. I feel like that's always the main thing. It's just try to improve as a person, and everything else in your life just kind of follows.
I love it. Now I know there's people that want to hear the phone script. People get on these. Let's hear what he says.
Let's go.
You know, and I always say it's not the how tos. It's how you do the how tos that matter. But we'll cover the how tos. So I am a final expense lead. I'm 57 years old, 67 years old.
67.
Uh,
I
I'm
don't even need your
diabetic.
age.
All right, cool. Call
I don't
me.
even need your age. I collect 4 points of info on my leads. I just get name, email, phone number, and type of beneficiary. So I go, hey Trey,
Hello.
this is Hanan. Calling you real quick about the state regulated life insurance and final expense programs you're looking at to leave behind your spouse. Is that right?
Yep.
Perfect. Well, I'm the underwriter that's been assigned to your file just to show you a couple of options. Are you looking to take care of a burial, take care of a cremation, or what's kind of going on?
Um, well, I want to take care of burial. I don't want to
Burial.
be cremated.
Okay. And then do you have any coverage currently?
Yes,
Okay, perfect. Well, that makes it easy for me. Do you got a pen and paper next to you?
I do.
Perfect. Go ahead and grab that and let me know once you got it.
All right, I got it. How long is this going to take?
It's not long. So I'm gonna have you write down my name, badge number, and then I'm gonna ask you a couple of health questions, like 2 or 3 financial questions. Then I'm gonna do a bunch of shopping for you, find the best rate possible. I'll show you 2 to 3 options. You let me know which one works best for you. And then we submit an enrollment packet. And then if you get approved, you'll never have to worry about this again, okay?
Okay.
All right. And then name, badge number, boom, boom. Um, then I go right into my financial inventory. Then that's basically it. I ask the health questions, ask the financial questions. If they don't have coverage, I ask them what's that going to look like when you pass away, or your spouse that you put down. It's going to be rough. If we got money in the bank, whatever they answer, okay, great. Kind of dig into that a little bit more. And then from there, I show the 3 options and then close it up. I feel like I don't do anything too special. I just try to see what they need and go from there. But okay, we'll continue. Um, I don't even know where we were. Oh, financial inventory. I'll just pull it up.
Financial inventory.
Yeah, because I still read it every time. So any heart attack, stroke, cardiomyopathy, CHF, stents, bypass, AFib, angioplasty, angina, heart valve disease, heart failure disease.
Well, I had a little heart attack.
Okay. How long
It
ago?
was 5 years ago.
5 years ago. Okay, that should be no problem. With the heart attack, you get on like blood thinners. Are you on any carvedilol, furosemide?
Yeah, I'm on a blood thinner, Plavix,
Good. Okay. And how long have you been on that?
for the last 5 years.
Okay. And it's been helping, right? You haven't had any heart attacks since, which is good. And then what about any lung problems? Any asthma, COPD, emphysema?
Nope.
Good. Any liver problems, cirrhosis, hepatitis, A, B, or C, or liver failure?
Nope.
Good. Kidney disease, kidney failure?
Nope.
Okay, here come the more common ones. Any high blood pressure, high cholesterol, diabetes?
High blood pressure and diabetes.
High blood pressure and diabetes. Okay, type 1 or type 2?
I take pills.
You take like metformin?
Yes.
Okay, got it. And then for the high blood pressure, are you taking like lisinopril?
Yep. How'd
Or
you know? Are
I'm
you a
good at what I
doctor?
do. I'm like a mini pharmacist. There's our superstar. And then any Alzheimer's, dementia, ALS, terminal illness, dialysis, HIV/AIDS, anything of that nature?
uh, nope.
Perfect. Perfect. Okay. And then how old are you?
I'm 68.
68. Working, retired, disabled?
I'm retired.
Nice. Okay. And then are you receiving Social Security or pension or both?
Social Security.
Social Security. Perfect. And then I know you mentioned you have a policy currently. How long have you had it?
Uh, 7 years.
Good. So you've had it for a long time. So we're not going to want to touch that one. I'm assuming you're just looking to add on coverage like most people, right?
Yep, I only have like 5,000.
Oh, okay. And then you want to be buried?
Yep.
Okay. Do you know how much the average burial is currently?
I just know it's more than 5,000.
It is a little bit more than 5,000. So we normally recommend between 10 and 15,000 for people that want to be buried. That'll be enough to take care of a decent burial for you. Okay. And then do you smoke?
No.
Don't smoke. Perfect. And then with that, did you say you get both? I'm not taking notes, so it's a little hard for me to recall. Did you say you get
Uh,
Social Security and pension?
yeah, Social Security and a pension from
Okay,
Lockheed Martin.
perfect. I don't even know what that is, but nice. And then does that go to a bank, credit union, or online bank, or green
A
direct
bank,
bank?
a
Good,
bank. Yeah.
good. That'll save you some money. Okay. Who is on the phone? And then okay, that'll save you some money. Now you still have your pen and paper next to you, right?
Yes.
Good. So I'm going to show you two options. Now sometimes I show two, sometimes I show three. Kind of depends. I remember you came in the office and told me to show two. So for like husband wife, I normally show two. Three for a
Yep.
husband wife is way too many, I think, in my opinion, because they won't make a decision. That's six options they got to choose from. Um,
Right.
so I like the two for husband wives. Three if the call is going smooth and they're not kind of giving me too much pushback. Um, for you, if you already had 5,000, I'd probably just show you two. I'd show you like 5 and 10, honestly, and that would be
Yep.
it. So like I would be like, hey, so write down 5 grand and 10 grand. Okay.
Okay.
So that's going to put you at a total of between either 10 or 15,000 in coverage. The first one at 68 male. I would love for someone to fact check me. 68 male non-smoker. Americo level one's probably going to be like $56, probably for like 5 grand, maybe 46. So 46 bucks for first one, 5 grand. 10 grand is going to be about 76. Okay.
Okay.
Then I would go into the bullet points here. It's going to be a whole life, and I tell them to write this down, bullet point this. Hey, on your pen and paper, bullet point this. It's going to be a whole life program. That means the coverage is going to last you forever, okay, until you're 120. And then it'll come with some living benefits. Have you heard of those?
No.
Okay. They're actually really simple. It's in the event you become terminally ill, Trey, you'll have access to half of the policy while you're still alive. Okay.
Okay.
And the other half will go to your beneficiary, your wife, in the event you do pass. Okay. We all have a day. Then the policy will build a little bit of cash value. Have you heard of that?
Yes.
Perfect. So the longer you have it, the better. And if you ever wanted to borrow from it, you could. Okay. Though I never really recommend it because it does make things tricky. Okay. Then the main concern, Trey, is in the event we can get you approved, the coverage will be immediately effective, meaning that there's no 2-year waiting periods or anything like that. God forbid you pass away tomorrow, your wife will receive the full death benefit. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. Now keep in mind, I'm just the underwriter. We could always add coverage in the future and we could always lower coverage in the future. Out of those two options, which one do you like the most?
I like the $10,000 one for 76.
Okay, perfect. And I know you've had your policy for 7 years now. Have you applied for insurance recently? Do you kind of know how it works?
No, not recently.
Okay, it's actually really simple. And I don't know anyone else who does this. We're still trying to figure out, like me and Steven are still trying to figure out how like good it is. I collect all the information before the application. So after they say that, I say, okay, perfect. It works really easy. The insurance carrier just needs three things from us. First is a driver's license or state ID. Okay, they're going to make sure that there's no DUIs in the last 5 years or any felonies. Okay.
Okay.
Secondly, they're going to check your social. They're going to make sure you're actually still alive, make sure you're not on any current cancer treatment. And then this is also used during the death claims process so that your family could actually receive the death benefit. Okay. Then the third
Okay.
thing would be whichever bank account or credit union you wanted to put on file so that in the event they do approve you, they'll draft that first premium in 24 to 72 hours. Okay. And then make sure you say, at least when you collect bank info, at least say the 24 to 72 hours so that you could get the immediate draft, right? We have to stay in business at the end of the day. That's
Right.
super important. Don't allow them to post date every policy. It's crazy. Um, get the immediate draft. If they don't have the money, they'll tell you. Like I feel like I had a guy today. I did. First sell today. He was like, "Oh, I might have to hold off on it then." I was like, "Okay, is that just because of the timing of the payment?" And he's like, "Yeah." I was like, "All right, when do you need it?" And I was like, "All right, whatever." And he was like, "Third Wednesday." I was like, "Cool, all right, no problem." Even though I passed like a week and a half ago, like he should have the money. But so always push for the immediate draft, and then I from there, then I have them confirm the address, beneficiary, and then collect everything, and then open the app.
I love that. Um, how's that helped you in the closing process? What's the biggest change collecting the information up front like that?
I love it because I don't know if it was just the way I was getting it through the application, but I was always getting stuck at either social or bank. Um, and my financial inventory wasn't as good, so I would run into like open an America application, all of a sudden they have Chime, Cash App, then I have to go pivot. Um, so it was just a mess before I was doing that. And then I think one time the first time I did it must have been a guy just rushing me. I was like, all right, just give me everything then. And then it worked so smooth, and I was like, all right, I'll keep trying that. Um, but it just makes it more direct, and I know if they're serious or not, because I don't want to have to finesse you into buying the policy. That's my point of view. I don't want to have to finesse you inside of the application to get the bank info. I could, if you want it, you'll give it to me right there. We already agreed on a price, and I like to reduce the friction of buying. So I got this from freaking the Amazon guy. I don't know his name right now. Reduce the friction of buying, and people will buy more. If you're taking too long and you tell them you're gonna need their bank info like 7 minutes, 8 minutes into the call, but then don't ask for it until 40 minutes into the call, it's a mess. I try to get
Mm,
everything by like 12:15 so that we could work on the applications together and then build rapport. Um, that's
yes, dude, that's brilliant. Yeah, it does make a lot of sense. When you tell them all the stuff, you prepare them, and then you wait 40 minutes.
yeah,
The- yeah, I wouldn't want to give it to you either. I mean, you deal with final expense, people get impatient. And I feel a
yes,
lot of times too, a lot of the objections that people are getting, there, it's just because people just don't want to do it. It ain't because they're afraid you're going to steal their social. It's just a way out.
yeah,
Like they gave up on you 20 minutes ago. I do think you'd get less friction if you just do this right up front quick.
yeah,
Um, because it
especially
seems
for
like it's
finals.
closer to the end, especially final expense. Yeah,
Yeah.
they ain't got the patience. You know, my grandfather, I think he left my high school graduation before we even came in.
Oh,
like, like,
yeah.
like, yeah, that's who I think of when I call a lead. I'm thinking they just call my grandpa. That's who I know how he was.
Yep,
Um,
that's hilarious.
all right. So any parting shots? What just last advice you would give people on the call that you think we missed or people could take
Um,
away from?
I like that question. What do you do in that 12 to 15 minutes? You need to know your times inside the calls, like how long-winded you are. So for me, I'm quoting by like minute 9 to 11 and then collecting info by like 12 to 15. Um, that's it. So you need to know your times on your calls. Just like pay attention. Just pay attention to the things inside of the calls, right? Um, there you go. You're welcome, Jonathan. And then anything
Hmm.
else to go? Um, what do you think
I
needed?
do have something about that. Okay, you're about to say something, but okay. So I had a misconception for a long time that you can ask people to buy too quick, and I think in the in home it might have been actually that way.
Okay.
But what I've observed on the phone is maybe it's not that way. Like, are you when you're going that fast, are you getting a ton of pushback most of the time that you're having to battle? Or what does it look like when it goes well? And what does it look like when you don't sell it?
I like, so that's why I set the table really long. I try to go into that as in depth as possible so that if they're going to give me pushback, they'll give it to me there, right?
Mm,
Okay, we'll submit that in one packet, and then if they approve you, you never have to worry about this again. If they want to say like, oh, well, I'm just thinking about it or I'm just shopping, I try to get them to say it there. So we could battle it there before we get to numbers or anything. Because I was always taught I'm not a quoting machine, so I hate giving quotes out, honestly. Um,
right,
but yeah, I try to battle them as soon as I'm on the phone with them to get past all that so we could have an easy conversation after. I
right,
I'm past like the finessing because that just leads to more chargebacks. If you just be super direct, like it makes everything better, honestly.
right. And dude, if you go quick, you're not spending a lot of time with people that weren't going to buy it anyway. It gives you more time to call more people that'll answer the phone during the time that people answer the phone that'll get to the amount of presentations you need to get the two or three that are going to buy.
Yeah. And
Um,
you'll get the people that need to think about it. So like you were saying, what does it look like when I don't sell? Honestly, most of my not sales are full presentations. Those are the only ones I track, anyways. But what does it look like? I need to think about it a lot. I don't get like I don't want to give you my information as much. So most of the time, I just need to think about it, and it's
Mm.
honestly probably, excuse me, it's probably my fault because I'm probably quoting too high if they're saying that, right? It's probably the price whenever they say that. So that's what it
And
is.
then what do you call a complete presentation?
Getting to numbers and asking for the close.
Okay,
Yeah. Anything
love it.
before that, no, I don't count.
Okay. All right. So parting shots. I cut you off. You were going to give us some good stuff, and I
I was
butted
gonna
in.
say for new agents, if I was a new agent, what would I want to hear? People hate hearing buy new leads, but it's such the truth, isn't it? It's such the truth. It sucks. As a new agent, it sucks hearing that because you're like, Jesus, I don't want to do this. But it really is the truth, and you just need to believe in yourself, right? If you spend the money, you'll make it. You have to believe that. If not, why are you here? Right? Honestly. Um, that's what it is. Why are you here if you're not ready to spend the money that everybody else is saying that you need to? That's my point of view. After I came back from the
Right.
trip, I was like, my gosh, I actually have to spend this money on these leads. I was already spending like 500 to 1,000 a week, but now I was like, dang, I'm gonna have to double it. And you never regret it. So try everything, uh, because then you'll regret nothing. That's my final words. Try everything, you'll regret nothing. I like that. That's about to
I
be my
like that
quote,
too. That
right?
should
I
be on
kind
a
of like
t-shirt.
that. Oh, shoot, okay.
Dude, that's great. That's the next FFL t-shirt right there.
Nice.
Well, thanks for jumping on, Hanan. This has been incredible. If you guys like this, put something in the comments so Hanan knows. Put a one in the comments if you thought this was amazing.
Please, there was a lot of y'all. Damn. 20 hopped off, so we had a decent retention. It was about like 85%. It's not bad.
That's right. Tracking numbers. Look at that.
That's
All right.
hilarious.
Well,
Thanks,
thanks for
Trey.
jumping
I
on.
appreciate you guys.
Yeah,
Uh,
we appreciate you too. We'll definitely do a round two. We got to get Joseph on next.
We do. He's the real goat. I'm the real
Yep,
goat. I'm the real
the
goat.
real go. That's
That's
it.
the secret, like Sean be saying. Invite people that are better than you and get out of their way, right?
Amen to that. I hear you. And I learned how to do Rubik's Cube from these guys, so I
Oh
can solve
yeah,
Rubik's Cube
that's
fast
the
too.
real secret. Learn the
That's
Rubik's
it.
Cube. Learn the Rubik's. All
All
right,
right.
Trey.
Well, you guys have a great week. Thanks for jumping on.
You too. Bye bye.